All right, thank you for joining us for this third webinar in our series of webinars. The first one was on the Mass E program overview. That was on June 26th. And then our second one was on the application process. That was on June 29th. You can find those both on our YouTube channel, Mass E YouTube channel. And now this is the third and final webinar in the series. And we are going to devote this next hour or so to the writing component of the application, the statement of purpose and personal history statement. So welcome today, July 6th, 2026. So here's our agenda. We're going to talk about the value of statements. We're going to talk specifically about the personal history statement, some common themes, and then the statement of purpose. We're going to close with some overarching points, and then we'll have some Q&A. We'll stop recording by the time Q&A starts. First, I'd like you to meet our student services team. So I am Janine Bernard. I'm the Associate Director of Student Services. I will be transitioning out of this role, but you still have me for now. Mars Rivas, our Senior Admissions Officer, and then Maritzi Perez, our Student Affairs and Academic Advisor. So together, we are answering your questions today. So let's talk about what the value of the personal history statement and statement of purpose are. The personal history statement, they're both going to be 1,000 words or less. We want you to be clear, we want you to be concise, and we want you to be relevant. We want you to pack a punch with the 1,000 words that you're allotted. Can you go up to 1,005 words? Sure. But we don't want you to go to 1,100, 1,200, 1,500 words. We want you to stick as closely to the 1,000 words. And so it's important to be clear, concise, and relevant because we don't want you to assume that the reviewers will make any connections for you in your statement. So if you, I think a personal history statement, the way that I see it is kind of, who you are as a person, what the context of your journey has been, anything that really molded you in your adolescence or in your bachelor's degree. And for example, if there was, if there was a semester or a year where you had to take on another job or you were sick or you were caring for somebody who was sick or whatever life kind of put on your lap, that is what we mean. Don't assume reviewers will make any connections for you in your statement. So make sure that it's you want to tell a clear story and you want to make sure that you clear up any confusion and anything that could be assumed shouldn't be assumed. It should just be clear. So the personal history statement, this is the section where you want to include relevant information on the following. How you have overcome barriers to access in higher education. Again, provide context for any gaps or inconsistency in grades or test scores. So I mentioned maybe there was a sickness that you had to attend to, whether personal or family related, or maybe you're just not a good test taker. Maybe you do better in semester long, quarter long classes, but when you have to sit down and take a test, maybe that isn't your forte, but make sure to explain that, or if you, yeah, whatever you feel needs to clear any of these gaps or inconsistencies up. Another more relevant information is how you have come to understand the barriers faced by others. So say you had a pretty accessible journey through your undergrad. How have you come to understand the barriers that others have faced? Maybe you have a friend, maybe you have a colleague, maybe you have a partner that has come up against these barriers, and how you come to understand that experience for others. Um, Another thing, your academic service to advance equitable access to higher education for women, racial minorities, and individuals from other groups that have been historically underrepresented in higher education. Any research you've engaged in focusing on underserved populations or related issues of inequality, any leadership that you've had among such groups, whether it's a student group, a volunteer group, or a neighborhood group, or any research that you've engaged with, as I've said, more more importantly, allow yourself to reflect and express on key experience that have prepared and or motivated you to pursue graduate school and the field of engineering. Make sure to highlight your passion, maturity, focus, strong motivation, and make sure you do it in 1,000 words. And very important, the personal history statement should not just duplicate the statement of purpose. There are two separate essays and they should include their core should have an overlap, but it's for different kind of purposes. And now the statement of purpose, again, keep your statement to approximately 1,000 words or less. Everything that you include in this essay should be directly relevant to becoming a successful student at the UC Berkeley Master of Advanced Study in Engineering Mass E program. So each statement you make needs to have a purpose, and it needs to tie back to, engineering and, the what you want to do, what you want to learn, how you see this benefiting your career in your future. How does each sentence contribute to your candidacy for admission into the Mass E program and the area of concentration to which you're applying to? So keep that in mind as you're writing it down, and always bring it back to your thesis, right? Like why this program, why Berkeley, why now? And so the prompt for the statement of purpose, again, 1,000 words or less. Your statement of purpose should describe your career goals and how this program will meet your professional aspirations. If you're entering the field, tell us about your engineering interests and the skills you wish to acquire during your program of study. Please also describe how you hope or expect to contribute to improving engineering in your future professional endeavors. And if you've been in the field for a while, what brings you back to the field, right? Is there something that you're coming back to get a good grasp on, to become an expert in that concentration in that field, etc. Because learning never stops. It's not like, okay, I've learned everything I've had to learn and then that's it's a continuing experience. And we want to see that in your statement of purpose. So in terms of analyzing the prompt, make sure you're explicit in addressing the following. So what in your background, your history, your training, any experiences, professional, personal, or academic, what in all of that has led you to pursue graduate training and or a career in engineering? What are your eventual career goals in the engineering profession? Why do you need a master's degree in engineering? And why now? Why are you applying to this specific degree program and area of concentration? How will you take advantage of our intense fast-paced program? And then why UC Berkeley? And I will say it's fast-paced if you want it to be fast-paced. We are flexible. So how will you take advantage of our flexible program, which can be intense, fast-paced, or can be stretched out to 4 years? Be specific about why Berkeley and why the Mass E program would be a good intellectual fit for you. And some overarching points for both of these essays are, so each statement should be within an approximately 1,000 words. It is to your advantage to keep your statement clear, concise, and again, relevant. Again, do not assume reviewers will make any connections for you in your statement. So you have to spell it out for them. Important, check and revise for formatting and spelling. Plan for 2 to 3 other people to provide feedback on drafts. And I know with the advent of AI, we are all using this technology, but please do not have it create your essays. It is very noticeable when AI writes these essays, and we want to make sure that your passion and your story that you're trying to tell comes across. So while you can maybe use it to edit, we also want you to for the content to be yours and for, if possible, for you to use people to proofread and give feedback to you on these drafts. Make sure to include any experiences or circumstances that have an impact on your candidacy as an applicant. But okay, sorry. One good thing to kind of separate the personal history statement and statement of purpose is, so for the personal history statement, any experiences and or circumstances that have an impact on your candidacy as an applicant, but aren't directly related to you pursuing graduate training in engineering, that should be included in your personal history statement. So again, anything impacting your candidacy as an applicant, but not directly related to you pursuing this training or degree. And then for the statement of purpose, the more directly related an experience is to your career goals in engineering, the more appropriate it is to put in the statement of purpose. So if you came to engineering because, I don't know, you, you went to see some high rise and you were super interested in how civil engineers kind of put this together, that's more of a personal history statement. But then your statement of purpose can be, I want to create these high rises for X, Y, and Z purpose, and taking and learning this, the curriculum in this program will help me get to this goal. um so that is our quick short presentation. Please feel free to look at our website, mass-e.engineering.berkeley.edu. You can email us at mass-e-support@berkeley.edu. Please reach out to our team with your questions and feedback after today's session. We look forward to connecting with you. I will stop recording now. Thank you so much. Where did my stop recording?